Walshy and Clutch, national champions, giving you a lot of love and showing you a lot of props. Do you recognize the significance of that, and how much Halo history do you know?
I tried to do a little bit of homework, I know like early Halo. I don't know too much about like Halo 5 or Halo 4.
That's okay. You don't need to know about those games.
Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, gamers, and welcome to episode 2 of Tide the Leader. Below me is my duo, Eli the Ninja, and to my right is the Finnish phenom, one of the Halo's rising superstars, Woodham. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited to have Woodham here with us. I feel like we've been watching him play for a while now, and now we finally get to pick his brain a little bit and see the brain behind the mouse and keyboard.
Since a lot of people don't really know much about you just yet, a lot of times when we have Halo pros or coaches on, there's so much Halo history behind them. But for you, you're new to the scene. So talk us through your early beginnings, maybe just of FPS and gaming in general, and how you got your gamer tag.
Well, I've been playing FPS games since I was a kid. I don't even know like how young, but since I was a kid, and always a mouse and keyboard. I never played controller. And I actually got my gamer tag from my brother. A joke between him and his friend. It's like how in comics, they have like the sound effects where it's like when somebody punches someone, they're like kapow. But for them, it was like woo tom. So that's how it was.
All
so
right.
it's an onomatopoeia. That's the word onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
I like that.
Love hearing how people got their gamer tags. What was that first FPS? You said you've been playing FPS from the very beginning, always on mouse and keyboard. Was it a parental guidance that leaned you into mouse and keyboard? Was it a friend that told you you got to play on mouse and keyboard? What was it that had you on M&K from the beginning? And what game did you start with?
I think it was my brothers because they both play games. I don't know like exactly like the first game I played, but I played a lot of like Team Fortress 2 when I was growing up. That's like one of my main games that I was playing when I was growing up.
Yeah, I was curious, like, how did you, I guess at what age did you originally get into Splitgate? Because most people know by now that that's where you started like really taking shooters seriously. So what was your introduction to Splitgate and how did that start?
I started playing Splitgate when I was 15 years old in 2021 when like the game blew up. I think it was like the summer of 2021. I just started playing with friends and I was just like grinding ranked and I realized I'm like pretty good at that game. So I got like top 3 in their ranked leaderboard. So I started from there.
Yeah, we've actually got your montage here, so let me pull this up. This must have been when you were competing under SSG, I believe. I'm wearing my SSG jersey today because I know that's kind of where you got started. So let's take a look at this. You guys see it in the Discord there?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So this is, it's like your section about to start here. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Disgusting. Hit him with the nasty.
No scope melee? What was that? That was one melee, it looked like.
So if you had momentum in this game, it would, based on the momentum that you built up, you could
Was that instantly?
Wow.
somebody.
So he was so
Yeah.
fast right there, it gave him extra punch.
Oh my god,
That's insane.
those are basically the DMR shots right there. And
This looks like Bandit gameplay, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty similar.
the gunplay in
Dude.
Splitgate's really similar. So I personally played a lot of Splitgate. I know Hunter did not, but
I watched a lot of Eli play Splitgate.
right, yeah. So the game is incredibly difficult, in my opinion. One of the higher skill ceilings for FPS games in general, because like not only do you have to shoot and have good aim on your targets, but you also have to have good aim and timing with the portals. And there's like an element of like shutting down your opponent's portals and then placing your own portal so that you can like block certain areas from being for the other team to be able to place portals. So there's a lot of like high level thinking in Splitgate, in my opinion. There's also a lot of like the objective play was always very interesting to watch among the pro players. So do you feel like Splitgate, I mean, it's kind of my opinion, but do you feel like Splitgate was maybe the perfect game for you to like learn first before you learned Halo?
Yeah, I would say so. I think playing Splitgate like kind of like skyrocketed my like mechanical skill in FPS games.
Was
Yeah, you have
Splitgate
to be.
the first competitive shooter that you really lean into and was like, Okay, maybe I got something here. You said you saw yourself third on the leaderboard. Was this your first quote unquote competitive game?
Yeah, it's definitely like the first game I competed in. I played like Apex for a little bit as well, and like Destiny 2, but I didn't like compete in those games.
Whoa. Wait, you said
Yeah.
Destiny 2. That's interesting. How long did you
Yeah,
play that
Destiny
for?
2. I have like 3,000 hours in Destiny 2.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
He's just like me. Like he has more hours in Destiny than Halo. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Unbelievable.
awesome.
Destiny's
Didn't know
so much
that,
like
yeah.
Halo though, so it makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
kind of that thought process, bringing it back to competitive. And Eli, you said this yourself. I think Splitgate was the cheat code, man. Because you look at a lot of the top Halo pros right now, or some of the top Halo pros, have come from other games. I think of Precision from Gears of War, Husk from Call of Duty. But I feel like Splitgate is really the game to apply to Halo because it's literally Halo with portals. And I feel like with the
Yeah.
portals, what I'm seeing just in that little clip from you, Woodham, is incredible map awareness and map control. And I feel like Halo's probably easy for you because you don't have to worry about things like portals. Do you feel like it is that little bit of a cheat code there? Obviously, you can't go back because I don't think you can even play Splitgate anymore. But it seemed like the perfect trampoline into Halo.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, it's like in Splitgate with the spawns, the thing is that the portals affect spawns. So you kind of had to worry about the spawns in more than just like where the players are. You had to worry about where portals are as well. So when I come to Halo, it's like I only have to worry about players. There's no portals to worry about.
I actually didn't know that the portals influence spawns, but that makes sense, right? Because they probably didn't want you to spawn
Yeah.
like where somebody could just portal right behind you and kill you immediately or something like that. And what's kind of interesting too is like you probably had to learn the movement in Halo. I would say that was probably a little bit more difficult in Infinite, specifically like the curb slides,
Yeah.
maybe the drop slides, but it's really not even that difficult compared to like whipping your aimer all over the place, going for triple portals. Like
Yeah.
Hunter probably doesn't even know, but a triple portal in Splitgate is like you place a portal on a far wall, you place a portal next to yourself so you can walk through it. You go halfway through
Yep.
the portal on the other end, and then you place a different portal. So then when you walk back through it, you're in a completely different part of the map. You could
Yep.
basically triple portal from one side of the map to the other on certain maps if there was like portal walls available for it. But like that to me is like way bigger brain than having to curb slide to get to pipes faster on recharge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Tying that into a piece of equipment in Halo, the QT, the closest thing I
Yeah.
can think of to a portal in Splitgate. Do you feel like you have a little bit of an edge with the QT? And have you ever popped off with it yet in Halo Infinite? I know you don't have as much time in the game just yet, but any crazy QT memories or moments for you?
Yeah, got a couple kills with the QT in scrims, like once or twice, but like when if you use the QT and there's somebody on it, you kill them if you teleport to them. I feel like specifically like the QT is really not that similar to the pros in Splitgate, I'd say.
Okay.
I like it. I think it's a good power up.
I was just curious, like, do you feel like there's maybe any other Splitgate pros that could perform really well in Halo Infinite that maybe you'd like to see move from Splitgate to Halo Infinite? I know Splitgate's mostly dead right now. I think there's still some tournaments going on. I know like K Jules, your former teammate, I think he's still playing it and on top. So like, do you feel like a player like him could maybe be a mouse and keyboard player in Halo Infinite?
I think there's definitely a couple players that could do it. There's actually a few of them. I think they're keyboard players, but there's a few like Splitgate players who are gonna go to the Atlanta Major to play in the open bracket. So we'll see how they do. But yeah,
very
I
cool.
definitely think like some of the Splitgate pros are like super talented. So I think they definitely could make it if they tried.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Maybe you've inspired a whole group of Splitgate players to come try Halo Infinite and see what they can do. So I think that's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. I was going to ask, we had this here. So you went to, I guess your first Halo LAN was Blackpool. And I heard you placed fourth, and that kind of started where people were talking about you. Then I want to say, someone told me that like Warlord was somebody that scouted you and maybe told Jimbo and some others about how good you were. Can you talk us through like Blackpool, what that experience was like, and then how that led to you ultimately landing on this team?
When I first started playing the game, I was gonna go to Blackpool with a team that was like me, Infinity, Knuckles, and Brainiac, and basically I was like, I just gotta get on some team so people know that I'm like competing, right? So that was the team I was originally gonna go with to Blackpool, but then Warlord like noticed that I'm actually like competing in the game because like he'd seen me in ranked before and stuff, but like he didn't know that I was actually competing. But now that he knew that I was actually competing, like hit me up and said to me like, "You wanna come to Blackpool? I have a team with me and Looney, and then we're gonna find a fourth if you're with us." They also had Bittersweet as an org, so back us up. They had like Tribal Courage and stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much our event.
What was that experience like for you? I know you played on mouse and keyboard at that event on Xbox, and that has historically been extremely difficult to do. There's a lot more latency. There's certain even mouse buttons, I believe, don't work on the Xbox. How did you make that work for you, and how big did you feel like the disadvantage was on Xbox versus where you're at now in pool play playing on PC?
So the main thing on Xbox is that it caps your mouse polling rate to 125 hertz, and normally mice are at 1K polling rate. So that's where like a lot of like input latency comes from. But I noticed that it's actually not as bad if you are playing on a lower sensitivity, like I am. Like I play on a pretty low sense. But I noticed that because I tried it and like on high sense, like low polling rate feels horrible. But for me, it was all right. Like it wasn't like as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It was like playable. Of course, it was definitely worse than PC, of course. And like there's also VSync enabled on Xbox, which also gives extra latency. But yeah, I mean, it was manageable.
That makes sense. I mean, that's like 125 hertz is, I think, the default value for like a regular Xbox Series S controller.
Yep.
And also like all the Xbox branded controllers. That's why I personally use the GameSir controller, because it does allow you to do the 1,000 polling rate. Also like the Victrix Gambit. So yeah, I mean, I just know personally the difference between one of those old controllers to one of the 1,000. It's literally 8 times faster. Like,
Yeah.
1,000 divided by 125, 8 times. So you really feel the difference, especially if you're like just really tuned in with your sensitivity. I was curious about your relationship with Jimbo, because it seems like he might be the perfect player to kind of like take you under his wing and teach you Halo, because he's been playing Halo for what, 15, 20 years or something. So
Yeah.
what's
In
it
every
been
world,
like?
right?
Yeah, exactly.
One of the few players
I
that can say that.
Right. You said that's, Splitgate was more complicated than Halo, so it's probably easier to learn Halo. But I'm sure, did a person like Jimbo really help you like see the game in a different way?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, my team as a whole has helped me a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially like VOD reviews. When we do VOD reviews and stuff, like it's like, yeah, like for sure, like it's definitely like helped me get to that like high level super fast, just playing with them and VODing with them.
No, it makes sense, because when I watch you play, like I can tell you're prioritizing space, which is probably the biggest difference between like amateur play and pro play. Is I think a lot of amateurs spend a little bit too much time like not moving on the map. Like, of course, there's times to shoot across the map and deal damage so that your teammates can like push a certain part of the map. But sometimes you have to be the guy that just immediately takes that space and kind of ignores targets across the map. And it seems like you're really in tune with that already. So it's just really cool to see you kind of like grow and just, it seems like you've already got it figured out. And it's cool to watch at such a young age that you've got it figured out.
Can I give a shout out to Mama Wootsum? Because when you're young, you're trying to fight for some screen time. You gotta, you don't want to pass curfew. You got some homework to do. But Mama Wootsum not only watches every single match, she hypes him up. She's on the Twitter. She watches all of it. So I will say, I love the fact that Mama Wootsum supports the young star in the making, because I think that's important to a young player's development.
This one will make me laugh, and I've actually got something to share here. So we were talking about your mom and how supportive she is in all the Twitch streams. Every time you're on stream, she's in chat on Twitch saying "Go Woodham" with like the Finnish flags and all that. And
Yeah.
like, how has she kind of impacted like this whole thing? Has she just loved it from the start? Like, was she involved with Splitgate before this as well? Like, how supportive has she been for you?
It's been since Splitgate. She's been super supportive, and even before I really got this Halo thing started, like before I was being like known as a player at all, like even then she was supportive. Like before Blackpool and everything, like she's always been supportive no matter what.
Love that, because honestly, like maybe the culture is different here in America compared to in Europe. Like most parents don't really want their kid to play video games all the time, or they don't see it as a career. So I don't know. It's cool for a lot of people. I was lucky enough to have supportive parents. I know Mikowski here had some interesting experiences trying to convince his parents that he wanted to go pro in Halo, and they were not about it. But I wanted to share this because this tweet, she deleted it. So hopefully she's not upset that I share this, but this tweet that she made me laugh so hard when I saw it. So this was after you guys got top 6 in the tournament.
Yeah.
And this was on the HCS tweet where it says like, congratulations to Foe. And then this guy says, literally cheating with mouse and keyboard. And then she quote tweets him and says, get out of here, shitter. And I was just like, man, that has to be the most epic, like mom clap back that I've ever seen on Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
did you see all this? Like, did this make you laugh when you saw it?
Yeah, it was funny. All my friends were like telling me about it. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. And I mean, pretty much all my friends thought it was funny. And like, yeah, I mean, I had no problems with it.
Yeah, it's so fun. And
I love it.
Yeah.
it's hilarious too. Like, how does this guy think that like mouse and keyboard's cheating? First of all, because it's like definitely a disadvantage in most cases. Like you're kind of proving that it can be an advantage in other cases, but like, what is he even talking about? And then she just shuts him down.
Yeah.
There's just people. There's unfortunately
Yeah.
there's people who just default to, oh well, he's playing mouse and keyboard in Halo, so he's cheating because it's a controller only game. Now, I hate that, dude. As a classic Halo fan, a OG in the scene, I'm all for this new blood. I'm all for guys like Woodham. I'm all for mouse and keyboard and the potential player growth that it could bring. Like, how many people watch Woodham pop off for top 6, top 8, and we're like, man, maybe I could do this for like top 8,000 or something, in my BTB lobbies or whatever. Like, just pick up mouse and keyboard and play Halo. I think that's awesome what you're doing, and I think there's a bigger picture to what you're doing than just getting top 6. Like, it really feels bigger than that. And I know you're just 17, right? But do you recognize the impact that you have playing on mouse and keyboard and the movement you've started?
I mean, yeah, like I started streaming on Twitch recently, and like instantly I have 100+ viewers. It's just like crazy to me. Like I've gotten like over 1,000 followers in like a week or something. Like it's actually crazy.
Yeah, it's been fun watching, and I do see a lot of comments in your chat that are like, thanks for carrying the torch for mouse and keyboard, or like, you inspire me to keep playing mouse and keyboard, because I feel like most mouse and keyboard players have just felt like they have no chance against controller, and maybe to the point that they stopped playing the game. But some of those same people were watching Arlington and they saw you popping off on mouse and keyboard against the best in the world, and they're like, you know what, maybe I'll pick it back up. I think there is like a measurable difference in the number of mouse and keyboard players just because you've like kind of proven it. So like, does that make you feel proud that you like have inspired, a group of gamers like that?
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Like I had people in my chat that like asked me, should I switch to mouse and keyboard? I'm like, like there's no reason not to try it. Like you can try it if you don't like it and go back to controller.
It wasn't until the HCS off-season global tournaments that your name came across the pond and was no longer just this thing of European lore, it felt like. NA was now getting their first chance to see you play, and from the very beginning, it was very clear that you were incredibly talented, which is kind of crazy, especially because Halo has an old guard. You don't really see as many new players break through, especially not somebody on mouse and keyboard. We've never seen that before. Talk us through those first global competitions where you played online, and you and Foe made a run at some of the best teams in NA.
The global LVD tournaments, yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like, just off the start, we were getting like top 6 in all of them, and then in one of them we got second, I believe,
Finals appearance,
against
yep.
Shopify in the grand finals. We did pretty well against Shopify as well, like, and we were playing on like 100+ playing. Like it was actually crazy. Like just instantly like you make this team and we're already doing so good.
No, I mean, do you feel like that experience just playing in a tournament in general kind of helped prepare you for playing on LAN as well? Because tournament experience is a lot different than scrims. Like most teams actually play quite a bit different. Like Slayers are played much slower. You kind of have to think a bit more cerebrally. There's a lot more counterplay. Do you feel like those tournaments kind of helped set you up for success on LAN as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like super good practice because normally we don't get to play NA teams. Usually even online, like it's pretty hard to get scrims against NA teams when you're EU. So it was like super good practice, especially because of the tournament. So, all the teams were trying like harder than in scrims, sometimes scrims, people might not try as hard, but in tournaments, like people are always trying. So it was like super good practice to like prepare us for NA, and especially me because I'd never played NA teams before.
What does practice look like in EU? Because you really only have one comp squad, right? In the sense that a comparable team and Quadrant. Maybe there's a couple other actually. There's a couple of really good EU teams that have formed in the off season, but it's not as deep as in NA where there's probably 12 to 16 teams at any given time that'll provide good practice maybe EU looks like more 2 to 6. What is your routine like? Do you guys scrim as often as NA, or how do you make ground, right? How do you make up for the lack of as many experienced teams in EU and still find just as good a practice?
The main practice is just against Quadrant, like for sure. Like usually we play them like 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, wow.
Apart from that, like we'll get like scrims again. It's like the 3rd best or 4th best EU team sometimes. But honestly, like even the gap between the 1st and 2nd, so us and Quadrant, and then like 3rd and 4th EU teams, like there's a massive gap there. Like it's crazy. Like I'll be honest, like usually they don't even like take a map of us in scrims we play against like the lower tier EU teams. But still, like we might as well practice against them. It's better than no practice.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see. I mean, you guys are definitely way far ahead of the other two. I mean, you guys finished top 2 in every single tournament. There was a lot of like confusing team changes to me between your team and Quadrant. Like the snipe drone trade was weird. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt like what I think you guys had won the tournament, and then snipe drone left. Like I don't know. There was some confusing stuff, and I wasn't sure like behind the scenes what was going on. Was there like interpersonal disagreements? Like are people not getting along with each other like on a friend basis, or was it more contract, like just business because somebody was offered a contract? Like what kind of happened there?
It was just entirely just business. Like there was no bad blood or anything. Like I mean, we were all still friends, like with Snipe Drone and everything. It was just, we don't have an org, so it's kind of a no-brainer. Like if you can get a contract, like you'll go for it.
It's even more reason to root for foe, because you're right. Even if, let's say Woodham was putting up a 3.7 at Arlington, and all this other, let's say he's the number 1 best player in the world. Like you said, a player's going to take a contract over teaming with you, no matter, even if you are the best player, because at the end of the day, everyone's got to pay rent, groceries, utilities, all that good stuff. So that's a unique perspective when you look at it from that side of things. But Eli and I talked about this a lot, man. Chick, that trade might have worked out for you guys. I mean, so far, just based off of results, it has. Talk to us about Chick and how he was able to just instantly mold into that faux roster and feel like he's been the 4th forever.
Definitely the best 4th we could have gotten, like 100%. I wouldn't say it was like instantly like that worked out though, because like I remember our first games with him, we scrimmed as a Quadrant, just had to retraded players, and like it was rough. Like we only took like a couple maps. I remember
it was 211, wasn't it? It was bad.
Yeah, it was something bad. Like it was rough for the start, but I don't know, we still knew that like we'll definitely figure it out. The thing is that like none of us had like pre-existing synergy with Chick, while on Quadrant, Glory and Sika, they both played with Snipe Drone before, but they kind of have synergy already. I think even SLG in Halo 5 played with Snipe Drone, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure of that, but yeah, so they already had like chemistry build up essentially, but we didn't.
No, it makes sense. I remember because Jimbo talked about it in that interview with Onset and Bravo, and said that it was rough and that Jimbo felt like he needed to step up. And I think Mighty's as well. Like there was, like by the sounds of it, and maybe this is just him being a leader figure, but he made it sound like it was all his fault. You know what I mean? And I think he's just kind of that guy that's gonna he's just gonna take the blame, and that he needed to be the guy to step up. And he said that you were just a turret, like doing infinite damage all the time. But like, I'm sure it was probably more balanced than that, right? Like everybody had to step up and be a better team.
Yeah, 100%. It was definitely just the whole teams like thing, had to figure it out together, put in hours, because we knew that like we still beat them, and we, of course we did, we just needed more time essentially compared to them, I felt like.
At this point in the Halo timeline, you had less than 1,000 hours played of the game. Again, for perspective, you mentioned earlier 3,000 plus hours in Destiny 2, less than 1,000 in Halo. Just like blows me away. What was it that made it so easy to adapt so quickly? And I almost wonder, because you adapted so quickly to Halo, was there even an adaptation period? And how many hours are you at now?
I'll let you check how many hours I'm at right now.
PC check.
I'm at 1,300 hours right now, so that's my hours right now. And like when it comes to like adapting to the game, obviously from Splitgate, it was kind of natural, like the developers of Splitgate, they always at the start they marketed it as Halo X Portal, So obviously they got a lot of inspiration from Halo. So when I switched, I could instantly see the like similarities. Even with Destiny 2 as well, like there's some similarities that helped me, you know. So in terms of that, like I think it was like the perfect game for me to switch to.
Dude.
It was easy.
You just brought back. Well, maybe Kills can find this tweet, or we can find this tweet. But I mentioned this was right around when Halo launched. I said, if Halo does something similar to Destiny, where you have a little bit of friction, a little bit of aim assist on mouse and keyboard, I could see it happening with MK. I could see people placing well and even playing on it more often. That's kind of wild that you bring up that correlation, because Halo did end up doing something very Destiny-esque in adding reticle friction on mouse and keyboard. Were you playing before the buff to mouse and keyboard, or did you only pick up Halo after they had patched that and improved the aim assist on mouse and key?
I played Halo like when Halo Infinite like came out for like a couple of hours, but like I'll be honest, I couldn't even like really play the game properly because my PC was so bad then that I couldn't even like get proper frames back then. But yeah, I tried it out for a little bit when it came out. When it got buffed, that's when I like actually started like properly trying the game out, I'd say.
Okay, so if we put the timeline together, it would be whenever that patch note hit for mouse and keyboard. Did you read that and think like, oh, okay, I remember having fun with it first couple hours, and Splitgate was a game I enjoyed playing, and that's kind of what pushed you back into Halo?
I remember exactly when like the buff came out, but like when it came out, I remember I was kind of like, I was still competing in Splitgate, I'm pretty sure, but when I had time, I would like just play Halo for fun, pretty much, if I felt like it. But then once Splitgate died, pretty much, that's when I like actually switched to Halo like full time.
All right, Woodham, what was your mindset going into your first major Halo LAN, and what did your preparation look like? You talked about scrims a little bit earlier. Really, only one comparable team to practice against. So, what did preparation look like, and how much nerves did you have going into that first major? Right, you're a 17-year-old kid. I mean, this is a big deal, right?
I'll be honest. I think I was more nervous just flying than I was for like actually a tournament.
It's just like me for real. Seriously, right? I guess at 17, do you just feel like you're kind of taking it all in and kind of taking it as it comes, right? I think sometimes if you realize how big the situation is, it's too big for you. But yeah, talk us through just your mindset going into your first Halo major and all the side variables that came with it, like flying overseas for your first time.
If I'm being honest, like to me, like playing on LAN, it was. To me, it's actually kind of easier because, I don't know, something's just about being there in person with, like, your teammates. Kind of just, I don't know, like, to me, it's, like, honestly, I'm less nervous on LAN than I'm at home. It's just, like, something about just being there with your teammates, Just makes it easier for me.
Very cool. Yeah, let's pull up that moment, though. This was probably, like, the highlight moment. Like, you guys had a lot of great moments before this, but this was, like, the first, like, big moment, I would say. When you guys beat Cloud9 for top 8. This was an awesome series. Cloud9 was playing great. I mean, they were playing phenomenal. They had just beat Sentinels, I think, before this as well.
Yes.
So yeah, like your team probably knew you can't take them lightly if they're going to beat Sentinels, and you guys played your hearts out and then I think you were actually down for quite a bit in this game 5, but then came back and then ended up winning by a significant margin. So let's just watch the end of this game here.
I feel like Foe, they can't just forcefully try to go for this camo. Instead, here comes a nice from Rami. Now just a 5-kill game.
Yeah, Rami started popping off. I remember
that makes
this.
It close. That makes it a little tight.
If Foe get it, they can sneak behind enemy lines.
He still got 5 bullets a sniper too. So like,
yeah.
I remember this too. I think
the flank. Holy flank.
Yeah.
Talk us through the flank before we see the moment. That was insane. Go back to that. That was. You guys sent 3.
They must have spawned back green because Jimbo had just got sniped at Big Door. You see Jimbo's here. Yeah, they sent everybody through. Yeah. It's kind of their fault though, right? Because if they had just pushed out the green side, then you guys never spawned there and you guys just took the spawn and ran with it, right?
I mean, yeah, it's just that, they're like playing super close together. They're not really pushing out the map. So it's like all we got to do is just, walk up the map slowly, just clear our angles. And then, you pretty much just get those final few kills pretty easily. Because they're not really holding like much of the map at all.
Yeah. Yeah, let's watch the celebration here. This was epic.
Popping off, rightfully so. Down 2-1 the series. Woodham showing off the keyboard to the crowd.
Let's go.
Dude, can you pause it on the horns moment? Because that is
Chills, right?
might be one of my favorite Halo moments in recent memory. It's just so right there, dude.
That's
Bacchus,
sick.
how are you feeling in this very moment? This is one of the hardest Halo picks on land I've ever seen.
I know. I just did it like on the spot. I wasn't like I didn't think about it like beforehand. Like if you're gonna win, I'm gonna do this. It was just like on the spot after you won. You know, such a close series. I'm like, all right, I'll do this.
And that's something I noticed about you. You play to the crowd, but it feels organic, right? Like moments like this, I'm glad you mentioned you didn't plan it because it felt like something you were just like, you know what, mouse and keyboard is the shit, and so am I. Let's go. Like it's just such a like pure, absolute, just euphoric moment. Talk to me about kind of playing to the crowd. And I noticed after a series win, you got off the feature stage and you're high-fiving the fans, dude. You high-five the fans before even your teammates, which I'm seeing that. I'm like, bro, Halo needs more of that because when you get the fans involved and they care more about you personally and maybe about your background, your narrative, I feel like, you know, you make a fan for life out of that and they're going to follow your team and support you at every event. I love seeing stuff like the engagement with the fans. Talk to me about why, you know, you love doing stuff like that.
It's kind of easy to do when like you just have like that massive support behind you. You know, it's kind of just natural, honestly.
How do you feel when you're playing and you hear the chants in the crowd? Woo Tom, woo Tom, like that's gotta feel pretty good, huh?
Yeah, that was crazy for sure. After we beat C9, I just hear, you know, I take out my headset and I just hear woo dum. It was crazy.
Yeah. Did you ever have that kind of support playing Splitgate? Like I feel like it's just a totally different feel from like that game to this game.
I mean, the thing is that like Splitgate didn't have LANs. It was online only, so
It was only online. Okay.
Wow.
yeah. So you don't really have that like, you know, that LAN feeling. Of course, it's online.
Now,
That's
in
so
this
cool,
series where you made history and placed top 8, first player to do so on mouse and keyboard, you also tied a little bit of history. I think Bound actually has the best first official major LAN first tournament performance. I think he placed like second or third. But you actually got in the mix with Snipedown, who teamed with Eli for Meadowlands 08, placed 7th in his first event. You ended up doing one better. But talk to me about the history of Halo and how much you know about that. On this particular broadcast, Walshy and Clutch, national champions, are giving you a lot of love and showing you a lot of props. Do you recognize the significance of that? And how much Halo history do you know? Like when you hear the term Ogre Twins, what do you think?
I know a little bit. Like I try to do a little bit of homework. You know, of course, you know I know like Final Boss, the Ogre Twins. You know, Straight Rippin'. That's a fucking classic. It seems like that. Like I know all like the classics pretty much. I know like early Halo. I don't know too much about like Halo 5 or Halo 4.
No, it's okay. You don't need to know about those games.
Yeah.
That's when Halo was kind of dying. I mean, Halo 5 obviously had some good moments, but yeah, Halo 4, you don't need to know about that.
Yeah.
Besides, I guess, the significance of like Ninja. I guess Ninja blew up in Halo 4 and then went on to become one of the biggest streamers ever. We can't be too hard on Woodham here. I mean, he was being born, I think, when I was going pro in Halo 2. It was like literally like 17 years ago.
I was born in 2006.
Wow,
Yep, that
dude.
was the year I was getting top
Yep.
8 in FFA for the first time. Literally the same year.
Dude, that's so
that's
crazy. So before Eli and I had even dropped our first montage or spent our first competition in the open bracket, Woodham was still years away from being born. Oh my God, we're so old.
I guess you probably at least appreciate like the history of Halo. It's cool that you know like the final boss and all that stuff. Have you ever gone back and watched like older Halo gameplay to see what it was like?
I've seen a little bit. Looks kind of weird to me not being able to sprint and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot slower. Also, every video you find is like 240p quality, so
Yeah.
it's pretty hard to watch. I wish we had access to the older archives for that stuff. Going back to Arlington now. So after the moment where you're raising the keyboard on main stage, you guys then beat Proton in the reverse sweep, which was probably, it was in my opinion, the most insane like series of the whole tournament, just because you guys were down 2-0 in the series. You had lost the first round of Oddball in game 3, and you guys only won the second round by 2 seconds. So it was literally as close as it could have been. And then you guys steamroll that into a complete comeback victory. So I'll pull it up here in a second. Just walk me through, like, after you guys win that round 2, to feel that now you have a chance. Was that kind of the feeling with the team? Was like, okay, we won a single round. Like, now we can actually make the reverse sweep happen. Like, did you guys have confidence in that moment that you could make it happen?
I definitely did. After we won this odd bowl, especially because, like, I mean, I popped off this game, so I was like, okay, like, these guys are definitely beatable. I don't know what we were doing. Like, we should definitely at least be playing them closer, because, like, the first team has been even, like, super competitive. We're like, okay, we gotta, like, lock it in. Like, we can definitely beat these guys.
This is the moment in round 2 of Oddball where Jimbo goes on a spree here. I remember he, like, ends up bottom center.
For Proton, and they're in a little bit of a blender now.
What an unbelievable
Jimbo was
play
playing
from
so
Fo.
good.
You gotta wonder if the comms came in and said, "Get ready, I'm gonna play this, bait them out." 'Cause
Just
Proton went
perfect
for
on
the
Gilkey.
advantage, but
If he
Fo-
doesn't get
Ball
that
dropping.
kill,
Jimbo with the huge
if he doesn't get that kill, you guys probably get eliminated. Like, straight up. Like, that kill was so massive right here.
on the
Yeah.
flank. 8 seconds
Yeah,
to
it's a
go for
1v3
Fo.
instead. It's a
Secure round
2v2.
5, 4,
Even here,
3.
I
I
get
thought you guys were
blessed
gonna win
that
it.
I
That's
get
why I
a
started
trade.
counting down. What was your thoughts?
Battle goes down, reversal goes through.
I mean, it was kind of sketchy when I died there. Like, when we didn't win there, it definitely got sketchy. But the fact that I got a trade there was, like, massive. Like, honestly.
That double.
Yeah, you think about that. If that player gets the 2 seconds of ball time, y'all are swept and out of the tournament. So yeah, that was actually massive to get that, and it took me off guard. I remember counting it down and thinking it's a sure thing, because I saw Gilkey and Sab there over by pillars. King Nick and King Nick was dead. Suspector, I think, was the last one alive. That's right. And he seemed to just come out of nowhere. He must have got a blue spawn and pushed top tower to top A. Did that take you off guard? And what was your thoughts on a regain right here? Because sure, you're 98 to 70, you're 2 seconds away from winning, but now Proton is in a full control of a lockdown setup, and they got the oddball.
I mean, I wasn't, like, super worried. We still had that 30 seconds. Like, 30 seconds is, like, yeah, that's just about enough time to make, like, a really good push.
4,
Yeah.
So I knew that we just nailed that push, like, you're fine.
That double melee with the oddball is so fast.
Yeah.
I'm glad I just saw this, because it just brought up a question I wanted to ask that I didn't write down. How do you win so many melee battles? You won a P2 Aquarius fight against Overshield in a melee battle. How like, that's kind of wild, because everyone always says it's a little bit slippery on mouse and keyboard in close range. A little melee whiffs occur more often. That seems to be a strength of yours.
Yeah, I don't know, honestly. Like, I hear people say that it's not good on mouse and keyboard, but to me, it's, like, really good. It's funny because even in Slickgate, I went for so many melees, and it works in this game as well.
Yeah, I think Royal 2 had actually said, because Royal 2 is really good at MNK as well. I don't know if you've ever watched him play.
Yeah, I've watched them.
But he was quoted as saying the reason that he doesn't want to commit to mouse and keyboard was because the melees are too inconsistent. So, yeah, no, it's a very interesting that you feel totally differently about it. But
To be fair, like, I haven't tried what it's like on controller. Like, I have no idea. But to me, it feels fun, you know?
You keep this going. You think you could pull some of the OGs off controller and onto mouse and keyboard that have that type of skill seeing, a la Royal 2?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I definitely think for sure, like, some that are good enough to do it. But ultimately, it's like, is it really worth it? Like MNK would have to be, like, for sure better than controller for them to switch, I feel like.
I think one of your
Otherwise,
advantages
there's no
too
reason.
was that you never picked up controller, and like you said, you don't even have any perspective on what it would feel like to play Halo on controller. All the way back to being 3, 4, 5 years old, you're playing TF2 on mouse and keyboard. So I think that what's the saying, right? Ignorance is bliss. I kind of think you got you got a little bit of that, because I do think Royal 2's right in a sense. I do think the community's right. It is kind of hard to melee on mouse and keyboard, but if you don't know the difference, you just woot them then.
yeah, I mean, would be kind of silly, I think, for Royal 2 to switch, because, I mean, he arguably has the best aim in the game. Like, he's just so precise as is on controller. It just doesn't make sense for him specifically. But I do think, like, he could compete almost as good as he does on controller with mouse and keyboard. So it'd be fun to watch. But let's walk through the end of this game. This got really dicey.
And now Fo have to break through one final time, or else Proton will steal it.
Are you kidding me? Jimbo was the last remaining player alive, and he just went down as well. So it's 3 fresh spawners from Fo. Can they orchestrate?
Yeah.
Well, Gilkey doesn't want them to.
This is where it fell
I thought it
bad.
was over right here.
Damage here from A.
The double, it's
GG's.
GG's.
People cutting across the middle of the map. Unbelievable damage. 8 seconds now for Proton.
Somebody spawned close. Jimbo spawned long. They just fly right in. How did
Chick? Okay, no, rewind it.
Did somebody?
Chick staying alive here. Rewind it because Chick takes the. Is that Chick that takes the body shot?
Down as
Play
well.
it from
So
here.
3 fresh spawners from Foe. Can they orchestrate a push?
Is
Well,
that
Gilkey does
Chick?
well.
Yeah,
That's
Woodham
good
gets
for
picked.
a great
My
damage.
God, that is Chick. That is Chick.
Oh, he
Look at
stays
Chick
alive.
Go from 1 HP, stays alive, goes camo box, goes to bat ledge. If Chick doesn't stay alive there, they lose this. How many moments are we going to break down like that where you'd say 1 HP and it would have been over?
And Woodham gets a kill on Suspector. I think Woodham spawns C and pushes long haul here.
Opens mid for him to stay alive.
Or wait, is that Woodham there? The names are kind of blurry here. Okay.
Unbelievable damage.
And then you guys
And
just
then-
fly in. Yeah, Chick ends up getting his shields back and jumps up bat ledge. Jimbo, he also, because he's here, gets Jimbo a spawn like close. And then you guys just flood in here.
For Proton.
93, 98, 5
And dude, Chick
Gilkey
gets
had
the
no idea he
kill,
was going to
dude.
do that.
This was
He had
so
no idea.
clutch by Chick, dude. Like,
away from
Yeah,
the-
insane.
And he gets the melee on Sab to make it a.
Yeah, so
instant
Jimbo
kill.
just,
But they go down. So too does the oddball.
Grabs the
1
ball.
second left. Foe
and he just grabs
So
it.
close. Yeah.
Oh my God.
feeling just like
Like, dude, you
That's
guys
crazy.
are 2 seconds from being eliminated from the whole tournament.
If Eli, if you actually rewind it, go to game 1 at the very end because Woodham, you'll remember this was deja
Oh
vu.
my
This
God,
felt
yeah.
very similar to game 1. Yeah, play the last minute because it's insane. Proton go up, and then you get a flag run that looked like it was about to score, and we'll let it play out.
Dude, this whole series was absolutely unreal.
See Sab, his teammate, with a sniper kill in the feed. Gilkey recognizes that. So you know what? Maybe I can take a high sight line.
Foe hoping to be saved by
Great
the
grenade by
This is a
Gilkey.
15-second score, by the way.
King Nick has a flag out
For Proton, so this was-
Yeah. Gilkey was playing very good.
Frying.
Gilkey goes down, but Proton go up in the match. Only 15 seconds left.
So in this moment, I feel like you must have thought, like, you probably figured this cap was going to go in, so you had already started moving towards their base here. Or maybe the whole team had called it. Did you guys spawn, like, mid-map? I think you guys got, like, the outside spawns and just ran straight to their side right here.
I don't remember what spawn we got, but yeah, I mean,
Hold the line.
So your only option,
like,
really.
The only play we could do was just to run straight for a
Yeah.
fight, pretty much.
Woodham gets
Seconds remain. Is anyone near?
triple kill.
Down go Proton, triple kill.
Bro.
With
Are you kidding?
Pie chart on your screen, and Woodham has an opportunity to tie it in sudden death.
you guys just have to kill spawners here to tie it.
Earlier, can we see it again? All 4 are live.
This
Like
is where I
Gilkey-
troll.
Do they have any
Yeah, you
sniper
should have just
right
went
now?
in the long way, right?
Yeah, I should have went a long way.
I gotta
Just-
imagine you'll never not shoot those nades down again, right? Does that become a part of the process, or you, like you said, you just wrap it and you take the long route?
Yeah, I just take the long route every single time now. I'm like, there's actually zero reason to not take the long route. I'll be honest. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually so troll that I went for
It's-
Taskmaster.
So much safer, yeah.
I mean, though, this is incredible regain though because this is how you lose game 1. Like, I was out of breath. You guys probably were maybe checked a little bit. There's always an element of that. But I
Little
just
bit,
don't
yeah.
get how you guys regained from this moment, going down 0-1, then 0-2, and then in that 0-1 in game 3 in Oddball, you guys clutch up and win that by 2 seconds. Talk me through like the yin-yang dichotomy between not clutching up, not icing up, and then doing it 2 games later to keep your tournament hopes alive.
I would say like all of our like mentals like are pretty much on point. Like, I didn't feel like anyone was like really super bothered that we were down 2 maps, and you know, like Wonder Boy's telling us we can definitely reverse sweep these guys easily. It's like, and like we all believe in it, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say that like it's probably not even that bad to lose like this because it tells you like, man, that could have gone either way. Like we could have won that game. We could easily be up 2-0 right now because both these games are pretty close. I think the Live Fire Slayer might have been a little bit.
I mean, we made a
First-
comeback at the
Yeah.
end, but yeah.
And then yeah, obviously we just watched the Oddball game, and then Solitude, no longer a game type. But you guys clearly had it on lock. I think you guys were down early, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe you guys got
It was
an
like
early
80 to
lead.
0. Yeah, the Proton got the start, I believe, in this one.
That's right. Looks
A
like
good
it's kind of
minute.
back and forth.
Yeah,
At
good
this
80
point,
seconds. There
they're-
it is. Yeah.
80 seconds, and then get back into control for a while, just going through the spawn blender. And then game 5, I mean, I feel like you specifically popped off in this game 5.
And the one previous, Woodham, you top fragged, I think, in both of the game 5s in the lower bracket of your first major land. Again, I say game 5, and you hear game 5 as a Halo fan, and you start to get like the shivers a little bit. I just feel like you take it like it's, any other game.
Yeah, it's really just did not feel any different from any other game we played, I'll be honest.
Yeah, here, dude, you guys were down by 7.
It comes in with the reversal
8,
double
right?
kill with the heat wave.
No,
I think at one point it might have been down by 8.
Was that split spawn advantageous? It looks like some of them did survive on Fridge. They have an opportunity here. Oh,
This is where it started turning around a little bit.
How many times has Woodham won those close range encounters? I
There's
hear
another
so
one of
much
those
that
battles where you
Thousand
won
Keyword really at a deficit
close.
in close range, but wow, Woodham more likely than not wins.
It seems like you go for the double melee more than like the melee into the shot.
They need to find value out of it.
Yeah.
Just to
Like
guarantee
hitting
the
a
trade.
shot. I feel like hitting a shot after a melee is kind of hard for me.
Catalyst for a game 5 win for Proton.
a massive momentum swing. We saw Foe in the battle on Pink to secure OS. We thought that was their window.
Down 6
to
going
tie
into the
this game up.
mid-30s.
No,
This is
Proton
nuts.
with the noob combo shuts that down. Sab still working with the noob combo on car
The Noombo.
The new
28, 34. We're past the 30 mark where Slayers officially begin, and Proton have a 6 slay head start. Sab continuing forward with that plasma pistol, but instead he puts it away. 5 perfect shots onto Jimbo, and it feels like momentum and the lead are mounting for Proton.
Is this closing time? They haven't done enough. We saw what Foe was able to do in the second half of the live fire Slayer. Jimbo comes in with a timely kill. They cannot be trading right now. Jimbo does his job to perfection there.
Mighty's
Win this outright.
goes pretty massive. Oh yeah, this was
Not trading.
No trades can occur here.
Right here.
Gotta stay alive.
This is the moment though that like
Half shields for Woodham, but he's
things changed. I think when you get the melee kill P1,
as Proton maintain that 5.
or you actually do the melee into headshot on the next fight that I'm thinking of.
Striking distance, only down 4. Woodham.
I think it's on Suspector.
This is the most important overshield of the match. It might be the final.
That was a huge kill.
Wins this one. Takes down Sab. And if he can secure overshield here, Foe might just secure the comeback.
This fight, dude.
On the OS.
Oh my god. Dude, like right here, this is actually harder for controller, and just the way this played out, because he's like underneath you, and the vertical sensitivity on controller is so slow in this game. It's like the slowest of any Halo, I think, on controller, but you can just whip up and down and you're fine. Dude, when I saw this kill, I was like, oh my god, they can actually do this, because it did not look good for a while.
Just secure the comeback. Nobody's focused on the OS.
To win that, when the OS is coming up, Mighty's gets it. He gets the heat wave, grabs the heat wave, and he just goes on like a killing spree here, I think.
He does not die. I remember thinking 2 or 3 times he was going to die, but he didn't.
Sequence from Foe,
He gets
and
all the way wrapped
specifically
to top
Woodham.
mid from here. It's nuts.
You guys like perfectly swarm them. I think a few spawns that, like, I think this is you bottom mid. Maybe you swing P side or through court. He's just going straight in because he's got OS. They're all hiding in here. Says 3 in here, backs up.
Oh my god, the heat wave. They're collapsing in the base. They've got a lead.
Perfect Halo being played from Foe. Their eyes
Like right here, I thought maybe he didn't even lose OS. He didn't even lose a drop of shield, bro.
Yeah.
As Foe looks to make even more.
They played too scared there.
They did look scared. Back foot.
I mean, they didn't.
They're up 4
They didn't really have an option though, right? Like they're just coming off spawn. You guys are sprinting at them with overshield heat wave.
On a spree, and if he doesn't die,
Are you still in flow state right here, or what's your thoughts as you guys make this comeback? Are you guys probably feeling like we got this shit at this point, or what?
Continue to play flawless Halo.
Probably just adrenaline.
Man.
But there's not finally. King
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good at this point for sure.
earns top mid.
Yeah.
Before a 7-kill lead for Foe.
This game flipped on its head.
The flip got switched.
The flip got switched. I keep laughing at that because you mixed your words up.
But it was perfect, right? Because it's flipping up the
has
whatever.
been utilized. Foe rode that momentum to seemingly 3 rounds of slays, maybe more. This is
This is when I realized that Woodham top fragged in both of the game 5s, and I kind of lose my shit a little bit.
Has done
No, you have like epic monologue at the end of this.
for his team. Double positive just about once again. He got 7 assists as well. Unbelievable. Woodham, the rookie, is going to ice up game 5 in the lower bracket to extend Foe's life as history is made. Once again, mouse and keyboard supremacy as Woodham.
Let's go.
Move on.
on. What?
Dude, I'm so glad that you have that much energy, Hunter, because there's no version of me that would ever like do that on the cast. Like, bro, that's all you. I'm just gonna be chill and like talk about like the cool plays. You can go crazy like that. But
That's why we're a great duo. We're nothing alike. I cover what you don't, and you cover what I don't. That's why we work. But man, Woodham, what a series, dude. What was this your favorite Halo memory up to this point? I know it's been a short career so far for you, but is this your fondest memory or favorite series?
I mean, both this and the C9 series for sure are probably tied for like my favorite memory.
We went over this, which was like you guys' pop-off moments, and then you run into Shopify Rebellion, who, in my opinion, are just like definitely a step above everyone that you guys had beat so far in the tournament. And I had even said, like, I don't know if they can do it against Shopify. Then you guys come out and you win game 1 on Livefire King, but then kind of fizzle out, and they just kind of, I guess, overpowered you guys. What do you think it's going to take for you guys to break through and potentially beat one of those teams at the next tournament?
Honestly, I think if you can get more practice against NA teams, you can definitely get to that next level where you can actually compete for like that top 4.
Like in game, do you feel like there's certain things that you learned from playing against them that you'll do better against them next time?
Oh yeah, for sure. Not just like Shopify, just like a lot of the NA teams in general. Like we learn like the way they play, because like they'll play maps like a lot differently than teams do in EU, and you know usually it's better the way they play. So definitely like just learning from NA teams is like gonna be important for us if we want to keep like improving.
Very, very cool to hear your thoughts and break down some of that gameplay from HCS Arlington. Appreciate you doing that with us, Woodham. We're going to head to the conclusion of the podcast, and we're going to finish with some quick hitters. You don't have to get expand too much on these, but we're just going to go rapid fire. And first thing that comes to mind, what's your favorite thing about Halo?
The shooting. Or
the gunplay?
Yeah.
And what is it about the gunplay? Is it the dopamine? Is it like the audio cues when you get the headshot, the perfect metal?
Yeah, it just feels satisfying, you know. Definitely like the perfects, and the sniper as well just feels super nice to use in this game.
Favorite weapon in Halo?
The bandit for sure.
Oh, you might have said the commando.
Carbine.
Do what?
The commando's pretty good. I like the bandit because it reminds me of the carbine from Splitgate.
It's basically the same weapon, yeah.
Yeah, but the commando is definitely up there now as well after the buffs. It feels super nice to use now.
Now we know Jimbo's the captain. He's the veteran, the leader, but who's your duo right now on the Phil roster?
I don't know. It could be either Jimbo or Z-Midas. I think I actually have slightly more matchmaking games to play with Jimbo compared to Z-Midas, so maybe Jim.
Give him the edge.
Yeah.
Favorite FPS?
That's hard because it's either Splitgate or Halo Infinite.
Fair enough.
I know, they're pretty much tied.
And I guess this kind of goes into it. Favorite game all time? Would it still be Splitgate and Halo probably tied, or do you have one that really sticks out?
I would say so. I mean, Destiny 2 is also up there.
Respect that.
And where can we find you on socials? You mentioned you're streaming now. Are we going to start seeing maybe some YouTube stuff pop up for you? Where can we find you?
I haven't thought about any YouTube stuff yet, but my Twitch is Woodham, and my Twitter is WoodhamSG, and those are pretty much the only socials I use. So.
All right, man. Any final thoughts or anything you want to get off your chest, say to the Halo community before we depart for the day? It's been a blast talking to you.
Thank you for all the support. As per usual, you know, just thank you.
Huge. And speaking of support, I really hope you guys get an org in the future. You guys absolutely deserve it. That would be an absolute W. I can't imagine the community windfall if they saw an org attach themselves to Woodham and the boys. It wins all around for whichever org is lucky enough to pick you guys up. So best of luck in the search for an organization. It has been an absolute pleasure to have Woodham on the podcast today. The 17-year-old Finnish phenom who is taking the Halo ranks by storm. Make sure you guys subscribe for more episodes. We got more exciting guests exploring the past, present, and future of Halo. I think today's episode absolutely leans into what the future looks like, and we can't wait. Once again, make sure you guys subscribe, ring the bell for more Tide the Leader podcasts, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
The stadium was chanting his name, and rightfully so. I just want to give the utmost respect, the props to that young man on the stage. He is 17 years old, folks at home. 17 years old, and to do what he just did with his team, high pressure situation, I'd be slinging it in this arena. Unbelievable from Wootum and the rest of the team. Tim, Tony, we were in awe up here watching.